The war had been over for 5 years, but Marcus Cole still remembered the screams. He remembered the ships burning in the black emptiness of space. He remembered friends dying in his arms. And now, standing on the Galactic conquered station, he was supposed to shake hands with the enemy and smile. The station floated in neutral space, a massive ring of metal and glass between human territory and Valorian space. It was built for peace, they said. Marcus thought it looked like a cage. He was 34 years old, a commander in the Earth Defense Force, and his new job was simple: protect Ambassador Thalia Vey, watch her back. Keep her alive while she tried to make friends with the aliens who had killed so many of his people. The Valorians were not like humans. They were tall, almost 7 feet, with skin that glowed softly like moonlight on water. Their eyes were strange and beautiful, filled with colors that shifted like broken glass catching light. They moved like they had all the time in the universe because they did. They lived for thousands of years. To them, humans were children, loud, messy, emotional children. Marcus stood at the back of the meeting room on his first day, watching the Valorian delegation enter. High Emissary Vorath led them, an ancient being with silver light beneath his skin and eyes that held no warmth. Behind him walked others, advisors and guards, all moving in perfect silence. And then she walked in. She was younger than the others, Marcus could tell. Her glow was softer, more blue than silver. Her eyes were like galaxies, deep purple with stars floating inside them. She wore a simple white robe, and she moved with a grace that made everything around her seem clumsy and rough. Her name was Sarel, daughter of the High Emissary, cultural liaison to the human delegation. Marcus told himself to look away. She was the enemy. Her people had killed his friends, but he could not stop watching her. During the first week, Marcus learned his job well. He stood in corners. He watched doors. He listened to long, boring speeches about trade agreements and border disputes. Ambassador Vey was a good woman, patient and smart, and she worked hard to build trust with the Valorians. Sarel attended every meeting. She sat perfectly still, her glowing hands folded in her lap, her strange eyes watching everything. Sometimes Marcus caught her looking at the human delegates with an expression he could not read. When they laughed at a joke, she tilted her head like she was trying to understand. When they touched each other on the shoulder or shook hands, she watched with something close to fascination. The Valorians did not touch each other. They did not laugh. They did not show emotion at all. Marcus found himself wondering what it would be like to live that way. Cold, controlled, alone even in a crowd. On the 10th day, everything changed. The meeting was almost over when the explosion shook the station. Marcus moved on instinct, throwing himself toward Ambassador Vey, covering her body with his own. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the air. Through the chaos, he saw figures in black rushing into the room, weapons raised. Assassins. Someone wanted the peace talks to fail. Marcus pulled his weapon and fired. He took down one attacker, then another. The Valorian guards moved too, their bodies glowing bright as they fought. But in the smoke and confusion, no one saw the third assassin, no one except Marcus. The man was aiming at Sarel. Marcus did not think. He ran. He threw his body in front of hers just as the weapon fired. The blast hit his shoulder, spinning him around, dropping him to the floor. Pain exploded through his arm, but he forced himself to lift his weapon and fire back. The assassin fell. Then there was silence. The attack was over. Marcus lay on the cold floor, blood running down his arm, staring at the ceiling. His vision was blurry, everything hurt. But then a face appeared above him, glowing skin. Galaxy eyes. Sarah was looking down at him with an expression that made no sense. She looked confused and something else, something he could not name. "Why did you do that?" she asked. Her voice was like music played on strange instruments, beautiful and alien. Marcus tried to laugh, but it came out as a cough. "You were in danger." "That blast would not have killed me." Then she did something that shocked him. She reached down and pressed her glowing hand against his wounded shoulder. Warmth spread through him, soft and healing. "You are a strange creature, Marcus Cole," she said quietly. "Is that bad?" He would heal in a few days. Ambassador Vey came to thank him personally. The human delegation called him a hero, but Marcus could not stop thinking about Sarel, the way she looked at him, the warmth of her hand, the question in her eyes. He did not understand the Valorians. They were supposed to be logical, cold, superior in every way. They looked at humans like scientists looked at insects, interesting but simple. So why did Sarel seem so confused by what he did? He learned the answer later from one of the human diplomats who had studied Valorian culture. "They don't protect others," the diplomat explained. "Not like we do. Valorians think in terms of value and logic." They would never risk a higher-value individual to save a lower-value one. It doesn't make sense to them. And it probably terrifies them. Somewhere out there was Earth, his home, everything he knew. Somewhere else was Veloria, a world of cold light and controlled minds. And somewhere on this station, a glowing girl with galaxy eyes was thinking about him. He was sure of it. He just didn't know why that made his heart beat faster. He told himself it was nothing. She was the enemy's daughter. This was a job. He would protect the ambassador, the treaty would be signed, and he would go home. Everything would be fine. He had no idea how wrong he was. 3 months passed on the station. The peace talks continued, slow and careful, like two wounded animals learning to trust each other. Marcus healed from his wound, but something else had changed inside him, something he tried very hard to ignore. After the assassination attempt, security was increased on both sides, and someone decided that Marcus Cole, the human who had saved the High Emissary's daughter, should work directly with Cyril. They called it a cultural exchange program. They said it would build trust between the two species. Marcus suspected they just wanted someone to keep an eye on her. The work was simple. They spent hours in a small room cataloging items for exchange. Human art, music, literature, Valorian crystals, star maps, historical records. It should have been boring. It was anything but. Cyril asked questions, so many questions. Why do humans create paintings of things that do not exist? She asked one day, holding up a print of an old Earth painting showing angels in clouds. It's imagination, Marcus explained. We like to dream about things that could be. Valorians do not create without purpose, she said quietly. Everything we make must serve a function. Sarah listened with her eyes closed, her body completely still. When the music stopped, she opened her eyes and they were brighter than before. This creates feelings inside me, she said. I do not understand them. This is different, this is chaotic, and yet, she paused, searching for words, it is more powerful. Sarah watched everything with intense focus, like she was studying a foreign language. One evening, he showed her an old film about two lovers separated by war who found each other again after many years. During the reunion scene, Marcus felt tears forming in his eyes. He wiped them away quickly, embarrassed. But Sarah noticed everything. You are leaking, she said, her voice curious rather than concerned. They're called tears. It happens when we feel strong emotions. This makes no logical sense. We understand each other without words. She asked why humans touched each other so often, why they hugged when they were happy or sad, why they held hands. Marcus explained as best he could, but some things could not be explained with words. One night they worked late. The station was quiet, most people asleep. They sat side by side, reviewing old Earth photographs, pictures of weddings, birthdays, ordinary moments captured forever. You look at these images often, Cyril observed. Why? We form partnerships based on genetic compatibility and social benefit. We feel attachment, but it is controlled, measured. We do not allow it to overwhelm us. Deeply, wildly, but it nearly destroyed us. Our emotions were too powerful, too dangerous. We fought wars over passion, killed millions in jealousy and rage, so our ancestors changed us. They altered our minds, our biology, to feel less, to be safe. Like turning down a light, she looked at her glowing hands. We still feel, but it is like seeing colors through fog, muted, distant. We thought it made us superior, we thought it made us strong. And I think fear made us into something less than what we were. I didn't mean to. You feel this too. I know. But I have never felt what I feel when you touch my hand. She turned to face him. What does that mean, Marcus Cole? It was small, uncertain, like a flower opening for the first time. But it was real. And Marcus knew in that moment that he was falling in love with someone he could never have. The trouble came faster than Marcus expected. It started with whispers, Valorians watching him and Sarah with cold, disapproving eyes. Humans muttering about the commander who spent too much time with the enemy's daughter. Nothing was said directly, but the message was clear. They had been noticed. Marcus tried to be more careful. He kept his distance during public meetings. He stopped touching her even casually, but it did not matter. The damage was done. 1 week before the treaty signing, High Emissary Vorath summoned his daughter to his private chambers. Cyril told Marcus about it later in the quiet darkness of their workroom. Her glow was dim, her voice flat like she was reading from a script. My father knows, she said. He sees everything. He says I have been contaminated by human emotion. He says I am becoming sick. What did you tell him? Commander Cole, you will come with me, now. standing too close together. You've been seen, Cole, with the alien girl, the High Emissary's daughter. The treaty is everything. 5 years of war, millions dead. We finally have a chance for peace, and you're risking it all because you can't control yourself around a pretty alien. If you disobey, I will have you court-martialed and sent back to Earth in chains. Do you understand? They did not speak, they did not meet. When they passed in corridors, they looked away. It was torture, it was necessary. On the 4th night, Sarah came to his quarters. She stood in his doorway, her glow flickering wildly, her eyes wet with something that looked almost like tears. Marcus had never seen a Valorian cry before. I tried to stay away, she said. I tried to be what my father wants, what my people expect, but I cannot stop thinking about you. I cannot stop feeling. She stepped inside and the door closed behind her. What have you done to me, Marcus Cole? He says your emotions are like a virus that spreads to everyone near you. He says that is why you almost won the war. Not because of your ships or weapons, but because you feel so strongly that it makes you fight harder than logic should allow. My people have studied you for decades. We could never understand how such a young species could challenge us. You live such short lives. You are physically weak. Your technology is primitive compared to ours, and yet you nearly defeated us. And then you get up and fight again. You carry your pain and your love and your hope all at once, and somehow it makes you stronger instead of weaker. We cannot do that. We are not built for it anymore. We hid from the very thing that makes life worth living. What you have taught me. She melted against him, her light wrapping around them both like a blanket. He could feel her hearts beating, 2 of them, faster than human hearts should beat. We can't do this, he said. They'll destroy us both. I will not live another day without knowing what it means to be alive. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcus saw something new in her eyes. Not fear, not doubt, hope. We need to be careful, he said. The treaty signing is in 3 days. After that, we can figure out what comes next. You humans and your moments, you live like every second matters. And somewhere on the station, plans were being made that would test them both beyond anything they could imagine. The storm was coming. But for one night in the circle of each other's arms, they were at peace. The eve of the treaty signing arrived like an execution day. The station buzzed with activity. Diplomats rushed through corridors, preparing speeches and reviewing documents. Security teams checked every corner, every shadow, every face. After the assassination attempt, no one was taking chances. Marcus stood at his post outside the main conference room, watching the chaos with empty eyes. Tomorrow, the treaty would be signed. Tomorrow, the war would officially end. And tomorrow, Sarah would return to Valoria. They had barely spoken in 3 days. Too many eyes watching, too many people suspicious. But he felt her absence like a missing limb. He did not know how he would survive without her. That night, after his duty shift ended, Marcus went to the observation deck. It was late, the station's lights dimmed to simulate night. The deck was empty except for the stars, billions of them, stretching into forever. He stood at the window and tried to find Earth among the lights. Somewhere out there was everything he used to want. A quiet life, a small house, maybe a family someday, simple dreams for a simple man. Now those dreams felt like they belonged to someone else. The door opened behind him. He did not need to turn around to know who it was. He could feel her warmth before she even spoke. I thought I would find you here, Sarah said. She walked to stand beside him, her glow dimmer than usual, like she was trying to hide. In the starlight, she looked almost human, almost reachable. Big day tomorrow, Marcus said, keeping his voice neutral. Yes, the end of the war, the beginning of peace. She paused. The end of us. Marcus wanted to argue, to promise they would find a way, but he was too tired for lies. Your ship leaves tomorrow night, he said. Back to Valoria. They will call me a hero. Her galaxy eyes held all the colors of the universe, and right now, they held only sadness. I never thought this would happen, he said quietly. When they assigned me to this station, I hated your people. I thought I would hate you too, but you're not what I expected. You're not what anyone expected. You were supposed to be a primitive soldier, a simple creature with simple feelings. Instead, you showed me everything I was missing, everything my people gave up. I need to say it out loud, just once, before I lose the chance forever. And if things were different, if we were both just ordinary people. He closed his eyes, fighting the emotion that threatened to overwhelm him. When he opened them again, they were wet with tears. I wish I could marry you, he whispered. The words hung in the air, soft and impossible, a confession of everything that could never be. Marcus expected her to say something gentle. to explain kindly why this was foolish, why he was just a human who did not understand the way the galaxy worked. Instead, Sarah went completely still. Her glow died to almost nothing, then flared so bright that Marcus had to shield his eyes. When the light faded, she was looking at him with an expression that stopped his heart. "You do not know what you have said," she whispered. "I know it's impossible." "Then why are you? What are you saying?" "A Valorian must choose, truly choose with every part of their being. Their soul must reach out and claim another, not through logic or obligation, but through pure, overwhelming need." She stepped closer, so close her glow wrapped around them both. "It cannot be faked, it cannot be forced. It is the most honest thing a Valorian can do." "But it was not. The night you took a weapon blast meant for someone you did not even know. I did not understand what I was doing. I did not know the words were rising from somewhere deep inside me, from a part of my soul I thought was dead. In that moment, something inside me reached out and claimed you as mine, forever." Everything he thought he knew, every barrier he had accepted, every impossibility he had resigned himself to, broke apart and reformed into something new, something beautiful and terrifying and completely real. "You're saying we're already. Not my father, not your commanders, not distance or time or even death." She let out a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "You wished you could marry me. My answer is that you already have." "I love you," he said again, the words feeling inadequate for what he felt. "And I love you," she answered. "I did not know I could. I was not built to, but you rebuilt me, Marcus Cole. You woke something inside me that had been sleeping for 10,000 years. Remember that we chose each other, and nothing in the universe can take that away." And the galaxy would never be the same. The morning of the treaty signing, the galaxy changed forever. It began with silence. High Emissary Vorath stood at the podium, ready to deliver his speech about peace and cooperation. The human delegation waited across the Great Hall, cameras broadcasting to billions of viewers on both sides. Everything was perfect. Everything was planned. And then Sarah walked into the room. She wore white, the traditional color of Valorian truth. Her glow was brighter than anyone had ever seen it, pulsing with colors that the ancient archives said only appeared when a Valorian spoke with complete honesty. She moved through the crowd like a star walking among mortals, and every eye followed her. Marcus watched from his position near the wall, his heart pounding. They had talked all night about what to do. He had begged her to wait to let the treaty be signed first to find a safer way. But Sarah had refused. "My people need to see," she had said. "They need to understand what we have become and what we have lost. If I stay silent, nothing changes. And I am tired of being silent. The ceremony has a specific order. I have studied our history, honored our traditions, and believed, truly believed, that we were the superior species in this galaxy. We conquered our emotions. We transcended the chaos that nearly destroyed us. We became perfect. For the past months, I have worked closely with humans. I have studied their art, their music, their stories. I have watched them laugh and cry and love and grieve, and I have felt something I was told I could never feel again." Her voice cracked with emotion. "I have felt alive." Billions of viewers saw a human soldier standing at the wall, tears streaming down his face. "This man saved my life," Sarah said. "He did not think about value or logic. He did not calculate whether I was worth the risk. He simply threw himself in front of danger because another living being was threatened. That is not primitive. That is not weakness." Her glow flared white-hot. "That is the purest expression of what it means to be alive. Control is not strength. We did not evolve beyond humanity. We retreated from everything that makes existence meaningful. It lives in our oldest laws, and last night it was spoken again. By the oldest law our civilization possesses, we are eternals, and I am not ashamed. My people have forgotten how to feel, and it is killing us. Not our bodies, but our souls. We exist, but we do not live. We survive, but we do not thrive." She looked at the young Valorians in the crowd, their eyes wide with something that might have been recognition. "We can be more than this. We can remember what we lost." The human delegation held its breath as the older woman walked to the center of the room, standing beside Sarah. "On behalf of humanity," she said slowly, "I want to say that we came here expecting enemies. We came expecting cold, superior beings who saw us as insects. Instead, we found people, different from us, yes, but still people, with the same capacity for growth and change that defines all living things." She looked at Sarah with respect. "This young woman has more courage than most humans I know, And if her people are willing to learn from us, then perhaps we can learn from them too. A new clause was added. The Valorians would send observers to Earth to study human culture, to learn what they had lost, and humans would send teachers to Valoria to help awaken whatever remained of their ancient hearts. It was not perfect. Many Valorians rejected Sarel's words, calling her a traitor and a madwoman. Many humans were suspicious, unwilling to trust their former enemies. The road ahead would be long and difficult, but it had begun. 3 months later, Marcus stood on Earth for the first time in over a year. The sky was gray, clouds heavy with rain. He had brought Sarel to a small town in the mountains, far from the noise of cities and the pressure of politics. A simple house waited for them, surrounded by green trees and quiet hills. Sarel stepped out of the transport and looked around with wonder in her galaxy eyes. She had never seen a sky like this, heavy and soft. She had never smelled grass or heard birds singing in trees. "It is so small," she murmured, "so fragile." Her glow flickered in confusion. "What is this?" It was the most beautiful sound Marcus had ever heard, not the controlled, measured responses of Valorian culture, not the dimmed emotions of a species that had forgotten joy. This was real laughter, bright and surprised and completely alive. She spun in circles, her arms wide, her face turned up to the sky. Rain soaked her white robes and ran down her glowing skin. She looked like something from an old Earth myth, a goddess discovering the world for the first time. Marcus watched her with tears mixing with the rain on his face. "It is cold," she called to him, still laughing, "and wet, and completely illogical." She stopped spinning and looked at him with those impossible eyes. "I love it." The rain fell around them, washing away everything old and wrong and building something new. "Was it worth it?" he asked softly, "leaving everything behind?" She thought about centuries of life stretching before her, so different from everything she had known. Then she looked at Marcus, this fragile human with his single heart and his short life and his infinite capacity for love. "I did not leave everything behind," she said. "I found everything I was missing." Her light wrapped around them both, warm against the cold water, bright against the gray sky. And somewhere far away in the ancient records of Valoria, the eternal echo resonated with satisfaction. Two souls had found each other across the impossible distance of stars and species and time. And the galaxy, slowly but surely, was learning to feel again. Later, when the rain stopped and the sun broke through the clouds, Marcus and Sarel sat on the porch of their small house. She rested her head on his shoulder, her glow soft and content. He held her hand, still amazed that this was real. "What happens now?" she asked. "I don't know," he admitted. "But we'll figure it out together. Or perhaps it is just very alive." The story of a human soldier who loved without calculation and an alien princess who chose feeling over safety. It was just the beginning. But beginnings, as humans knew better than anyone, were where all the best stories started.